All right, boys and girls, here we are. It's a Jordan-less form. What? Is that Jordan's music?
I know. How about that?
What?
A couple fires to put out, for sure.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, you sick freaks that love and enjoy Chicago sports, welcome into the program. Tommy, Alex, Jordan.
I know.
Jordan, you're alive.
I was on the IL at the beginning of the day, but some fires to put out at the day job.
Sure.
But here we are.
Here we are. We're so glad you're here because
short IL stint.
Yeah.
I know.
We didn't even have to make a transaction.
I know. Testing came back negative. So.
Yeah. But here we are. We're post Crosstown Cup. We're in the middle of a game against the Cincinnati Reds. That was going our way, and now it's not. There's just a lot going on, and we need to talk about it all. The Bears did some things. There's also some women's sports to talk about. And
yes, there is.
Yeah, and we just got a lot going on. So thank you all for coming and joining with us and being here. And let's just talk some ball. Let's talk some ball. Who wants to talk some ball?
Yeah,
that's what I'm here for.
Same.
When we when we hopped on the link, I think we all just need to establish right from the get-go. Chicago Cubs are not a good baseball team.
Chicago Cubs are not a good baseball team. Yeah.
I mean, if there was anything that the Crosstown Cup series, whatever it's called nowadays, proved, it's that the Cubs are not a good baseball team. And it's likely not getting better.
Before we get into the goodness of the baseball team, I'd like to talk about the Crosstown Cup as a thing.
Yeah.
I was in the house at the game on Tuesday, and it was I've never seen so many people at a baseball game not watching a baseball game. Everybody was looking over their shoulder and moving in and out of their seats and looking for someone and looking for something. And nobody was watching the game except I felt like I was the only one and the players were watching the game. It was insane. Like people in my section, it was like a big group event and nobody was paying attention. And I kept looking at my wife like, I don't know what to do because people are standing and looking behind them. They're on the phone. They're in my way. I'm trying to watch a baseball game. And then the rains came and nobody knew what to do. It was just chaos. And then a huge fight breaks out behind the White Sox dugout. And then they settle that down. And then Christopher Morel hits his home run, but then another fight starts and they settle that down. And then Patrick Wisdom hits his and then another fight starts. It's like, it was just, and it's not white. This isn't against White Sox fans because Cubs fans were doing just the same thing. It was just chaos. And I did not like it. I don't like when family fights. We're all Chicago and it's two different teams. I get that. But, and the shots at Cubs fans of like, oh, Cubs fans are the worst fans. I got news for you. At least at a minimum, 50% of Bears fans, also Cubs fans. So it's the same thing. We're the same people. Whether you like it or not, we're the same people. So it's crazy. I would get excited for it if the White Sox were in our division, but they're not. And we see them 4 times a year. And I just don't care. I just don't care. They're a bad team. We're a bad team. We beat them twice. And now we're in Cincinnati.
Barely.
Now we're in Cincinnati and we're playing a last place team that's playing better baseball.
That's had our numbers so far this year. And I mean, listen, I didn't see Tuesday night's game. I was at the Sky game with some friends, which, by the way, was really fun. Even though the Sky lost, I mean, holy crap, that atmosphere, I would say was 75% full at
I'm really
Wintrust Arena.
I'm super excited to hear about that. I have that on my list of things I want to talk to you about. So,
but we'll get into that later. But I mean, I didn't see. All I saw was in the middle of the game. I look at my phone. We're down 5-0, and I just roll my eyes. Here we go again. And then we're driving home. I get home and I find out that the Cubs won because, frankly, I turned off my notifications. I didn't want to hear any more of it. Now,
Yeah.
last night, I went to bed when it was 5-3 because I was just trying to get to bed early. And then I woke up to go to the bathroom when Talkman hit the home run. I happened to turn on the TV when that happened. And I was really pumped in the moment because it was fun to see walk off. But I mean, yeah, I've always kind of hated the crosstown rivalry thing, those rivalry games. I always dreaded those games. This year it just felt like it didn't mean much just because of the state of the two teams. One's mediocre, one's bad. And I mean, listen, the Cubs had to go in and not lose to the Sox, and they did that. But the Sox gave you, they did you some solids in this series, whether it was bad walks, balks, or misplays, because the Cubs are still sloppy. They still can't hold leads. Starting pitching's regressing. It's regressing pretty hard. And say it was going to go through that. We know he wasn't going to maintain a sub-1 ERA. We knew this was going to go to that, but Javier Assad has had some leaks. Again, you didn't expect him to be where he was throughout the entire year. Jameson Taillon sprung him massively. I think he gave up, 10 hits in just a few innings yesterday? So while your pitchers were pitching well, you weren't hitting. And now you're starting to hit, and now you can't pitch. This team cannot function at the same time, and it's maddening. And they still can't play fundamental baseball. I've had it. I've had it. And yet we're 500.
We're 500. We're one of 5 teams in the National League that can say that they're at 500 or better.
Crazy.
I mean, we're in a playoff spot right now. Whether we deserve it or not, we're in a playoff spot. And the argument can be made that like the Diamondbacks didn't really deserve it last year or whatever, and they made it to the World Series. So all you have to do is get in the tournament. I would like to win a division. For whatever stupid part of my brain is functioning, I still think this team could win a division. I don't know. Like, I'm in a fantasy baseball league, and we are all like the team that we root for. That's us. So I am the Cubs, and we're starting to talk about like trades and who's doing what. And my team is, I feel like Jed Hoyer with my team because I feel like my team could be super good. It's supposed to be super good, and they just haven't figured it out yet. So I'm like, we're like 13 games under 500, but we're gonna figure it out and we can win this thing. I'm like, I'm Jed Hoyer. Like, I am Jed Hoyer. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah. It's frustrating.
Yeah, and here's let's closing the book on the crosstown. Yeah, it's not really a thing anymore. The last time it was a thing was probably when Lou Piniella and Ozzy were the managers. But no, it's not really a thing because it's either the Sox were good, the Cubs were bad, the Cubs were good, the Sox were bad, or in this case, the Sox are historically bad and the Cubs are trending towards being bad. And just like overall, I mean, like Alex was saying, the 2 games the Cubs did sneak out of there with a win, but whether it's the Cubs struggling to hit effective starting pitching, the Cubs bullpen struggling to maintain a lead, the Cubs starting pitching regressing. If you had a reason to concern yourself about what direction the Cubs are headed in, you were validated at some point during the past 2 days watching that Cubs team. And
which
quite
is a
frankly,
shame
watching
because
this
the
team,
wins were fun in a vacuum, but
What does it mean though? You know, what does it mean to beat the worst team in baseball?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, the Cubs' only tiniest like saving grace is the fact that most of June they're playing sub 500 teams, with the exception of St. Louis next weekend. But
who's playing much better lately?
I was about to say, here's the thing: the Cubs, given the state of their roster, given the state of their struggles, shouldn't be given the benefit of the doubt with any game that they go into because, like we said at the start, they're not a good baseball team.
Yeah, it's a very mediocre, very mid baseball team right now, and they have every opportunity in the world to make themselves a better baseball team and a good baseball team. And there are 2 or 3 pieces that can be added right here, right now that could catapult this team honestly to one of those weird wild card runs if that's what it comes to. But you see, like it's blatant what's missing, right? We're missing a catcher. We're missing. Well, we can talk about the bullpen too because they've put up some crazy good numbers lately, but it still feels like it's not enough, right? And so we can talk about them needing stuff in the bullpen, but a big thing, like if you can't get it with the catcher at the same time, is like we need a bat. We need somebody that can hit the ball, and we need somebody that can play defense at third base. And something's got to give. Whether there's options in house, there's options on the market. Like something's got to give, and they got to do something at the market significant to get back in this thing. And I don't even know if we can wait until the end of July to do it. Like we got to do it now to get out of the hole that we've already put ourselves in, because
you were racking up losses against your own division.
Yeah, if we keep
loss
we keep
after
playing
loss
like,
after loss after loss, you're gonna get Cincinnati back into this. You woke them up.
Yeah, if we keep doing this, we're done. We're screwed. So,
well, and here's the thing: if catcher is indeed one of the positions that you're looking to upgrade, you're pretty much at that point where you have to do it now. You don't want to acquire a catcher at the deadline because that gives them only 2 months to, get used to the starting rotation. But and Bleacher Nation had an article about this today. We've reached a point where Yan Gomes is unplayable. I mean,
unfortunately, yes.
Yeah. His defense has regressed to rating as one of the worst defensive catchers in the league. He hasn't had a hit since mid-May. For as much as Gomes probably brings to the clubhouse, like Michael Cerami said, you reach a line and we're well past that line in terms of a clubhouse guy holding a roster spot hostage, especially given the overall state of the Cubs. Like if the Cubs were 10 games over 500, even if Miguel Amaya was struggling, you could afford to keep Gomes at a roster spot. But given the overall structure of the roster, the overall structure of their struggles, you have to value each spot. I mean, that's why we saw Nick Madrigal get optioned on Sunday in favor of your guy, David Bodie, Tommy. So congrats to you. Your guy finally made it back.
Thank you.
But you have to get something out of each roster spot. And right now, Gomes is giving you a net negative.
Yeah.
And really, quite frankly, like the numbers may not say it. I don't know. I haven't looked into it, but Miguel Amaya is also batting under 200. Like,
Miguel Amaya has. Yeah. No, you need. When I say you need a catcher, you don't need a backup catcher. You need a starting catcher, which is why you acquire one now.
Yeah, and there's only one answer out there right now, and it's Elias Diaz out of Colorado.
Yeah,
that is the answer. Honestly, like to me, this deal should have been done already because it's not more obvious. Like you said, Yan Gomes is negative for this team. Miguel Amaya is not the batter that we were promised he was going to be. And we know it right now. So we should be trying to fix this right now. Because if we can get Elias Diaz here in the next week or so, he's got plenty of time and he's fully invested with this team by the time July rolls around. And that's crunch time. That's when we can decide how far into this can we get. Because also Elias Diaz is going to be a free agent this year. And if this next half season, if he comes to Chicago and things go well, that's somebody you got to think about re-signing because there's no option at catcher next year in free agency coming up through the ranks of the Cubs minor league system. Elias Diaz is it. You gotta do it now. So I think that would be probably my top priority would be getting Elias Diaz out of Colorado.
Agreed.
Like,
I agree.
They have no option. Yeah.
I mean, the Rockies aren't going anywhere, so they're not like they're sitting around and waiting to evaluate something.
And who knows when they're trying to be competitive too? Like, and catchers at the deadline can be got for pretty cheap because we saw it on the inverse with Wilson Contreras. We were like, we got a really good catcher here, but nobody wanted to pay for him because it was in the middle of the season. So you gotta, and the Rockies at this point, they got to be like, well, we might as well just get what we can because he's going to leave us next year. There's no way Elias Diaz is going to re-sign in Colorado, right? Like,
no,
get something for him. So,
I mean, I think it's the most ideal scenario.
Yeah, that's a trade you should have made yesterday for sure.
Yeah, and every day that he is not a Cub is a day wasted, and a day that maybe this 3-2 deficit maybe isn't a thing because we have a guy that can hit at not the bottom of the lineup for a catcher either. Like he could be a 5-6 hole guy for all we know. He's batting 300 this year, boys.
Yeah. His splits away from Colorado kind of regressed to about a league average for catcher, but still
League average.
a
It's better
league
than what
average
you're
is a
getting from
major
Young
upgrade.
Gomes.
Yeah, that's what I say. Yeah, still a league average is still a major upgrade. What you're getting from both Gomes and Amaya.
Yeah.
So yeah, they have to make that move for catcher soon. I think it's reached a point of no return. Definitely for Gomes, Amaya just needs something. While
You can
not
keep it-
being.
You
Yeah,
can
he
keep
needs
him as a
something just
backup, like
while
but-
not being in the primary catcher role.
right. Yeah.
And to be fair to Amaya, I will say this: his swing has looked a little better recently. It's taken some steps forward, but you still need to see the consistent production. And if you get a good, frontline catcher and your backup catcher is kind of making strides, then you can live with that. It's just a matter of what you're getting right now from your number one guy more than anything. And that's
Exactly.
just, that's
Yeah.
something that you want better from. And, I
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm so frustrated. Here's
Yeah.
another fact I want to point out real quick. Do you know when the last time was that the Cubs won a game in regulation by 3 runs or more?
Oh God.
Was it game 1 against Boston?
It was the finale against Atlanta in Atlanta.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Because you won 6-3 in Milwaukee, that was an extras.
Yeah.
I mean,
And-
you haven't had an easy game in a little under a month.
Yeah, and it runs into kind of the same issue that the Cubs ran into last year. Like say the Cubs do rebound. Well, you spent all your energy rebounding and not affording yourself the opportunity to take guys off their feet after the 5th inning because you're not having blowouts, which goes back to my overall frustration with the roster construction is because Hoyer has the arrogance to sit in front of reporters and tell us time after time after time that great teams have the ability to hit the ball over the fence, and yet he doesn't ever acquire a legitimate power hitter to actually feature that ability in the Cubs lineup. And we just have to sit here and listen to him realize what's wrong with the team, but then his own actions don't address that very need. It's incredibly frustrating.
The amount of energy he puts forward's just saying, hey, things will just work out. We're just going to hope that things just work out. Bullshit. You're a big market team, and you need to take steps like a big market team instead of just sitting there. Well, remember when things worked out? Hey, guess what? You still missed the postseason last year. Are we not forgetting that?
Yeah.
We missed the postseason last year, and you're just going to wait for things to magically fix themselves again? You're a big market team.
He's doing exactly the job that Tom Ricketts wants him to do. He is spending minimal money while they are making maximum money off of the morons like you and me.
So here's one thing I'll push back. He's not spending the minimum money. He's just making bad decisions with how he's spending the money.
That's fair.
He's not, because the Cubs are spending money. You can't argue with the fact that they are spending money.
That's fair.
How
they're
they're
the top
spending
8 payroll.
Yeah. How they're spending the money is what's wrong, is because Hoyer is spending the money and where he's dishing out these high AAVs on short-term deals. He's finding the opportunistic deals, whether it's Jameson Taillon, Shoto Managa, Dansby Swanson, where he's hoping that there's a consistent level of success that they have through the duration of a 5. I know Dansby was 7-year contract, but they're hoping that there's a consistent level of success. But the issue is where the market has trended. You have to pay for hitting the ball of the fence. You have to pay for the ability to miss bats. And for whatever reason, well, we know the reason. The Cubs just shy away from making that expense because of the restrictions of the past rebuild.
Yeah. Real quick, thank you everybody for watching and tuning in. But if you have something that you'd like to say, please put it in the comments, because this is not just our issue on the show. The three of us aren't just feeling these feelings. There has to be a bajillion people out there feeling these feelings.
Oh, yes, there are. If you go on
So
Twitter, yes,
please,
there are.
tell us your feelings. Tell us what you want the Cubs to do in the trade market. Tell them what you want them to do in in the whole organization. I don't know. If you're down in vibes, like, talk to us about it. Let's have a good therapy session tonight. Let's figure
Oh
this
wait, actually, I have one more thing about the Crosstown.
out. Okay.
John Triffin does not have permission to hate "Go Cubs Go," considering Wednesday was only his second time calling a baseball game
Yeah.
in Wrigley Field. So
Yeah.
there's no way. I get if you're a traditional Sox fan, you probably hate that song. And guess what? It's a bad song.
I'm
I
gonna
get
be
it.
honest. I think these two nights are the first time he ever realized that was a thing, because he
had to have.
doesn't know the
Yeah.
history of the
He
game. With
Probably.
baseball.
had to.
Probably.
He had to have. Yeah. So no, he doesn't get permission to hate "Go Cubs Go."
It kind of reminded me of the Blackhawks in 2009, 2010, when Chelsea Dagger would terrorize the Canucks, and every time the Canucks would hear that song, they like cringed. That's what it reminded me of.
It was Gloria for the St. Louis Blues run.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
here's the problem. I loved my high school job, I worked at a sporting goods store, and it was like 80s radio, and that song came on all the time, and I loved it. So like when the Blues did their run, I was like, oh crap, I love this song, but it's the Blues. What am I supposed to do? Anyways, back to the topic at hand. Yeah. Did you see Avi's shirts? Their new shirt? That's awesome. He was like to hear that song again, and then it's the lyrics behind it. Yeah. I don't think he knew that "Go Cubs Go" existed before Tuesday night. But my favorite John Triffin moment of the week was when he announced that Nico Horner got thrown out of the game, and he acted like it was like the last out of the Cubs or the Sox World Series in 2005.
I missed that one.
Oh my God. You gotta look it up.
He's such a clown.
I don't know how copywriting works yet. I don't want to push the buttons.
Yeah, we probably shouldn't test that.
You
Yeah.
have to look it up. And
he'll call you a radio loser if you play that.
Yeah,
he's such a clown. I mean, and even before the Cubs series, when we're watching what happened on the Tommy Pham slide in Milwaukee, and he's like, oh, we don't take that around here. Yeah, you do.
How many L's we have.
You're a historically bad team.
Yeah.
Yes, you do. And
so dumb.
Here's the thing. As Steve Stone rightfully pointed out, it wasn't even really a controversial play. Tommy Pham was out by a mile.
And he ran inside the base. He was running on the infield grass. Like, if you would have gone the other way around, I don't know if you would have scored, but you might have had a better chance.
Yeah.
You know what Tommy Pham looked like? You know when you were a kid and it's probably late at night and your dad or mom go into you and be like, hey, notice you didn't take out that garbage out there. And you just begrudgingly just go to the garage, walk the garbage down to the driveway, so angry. That's what Tommy Pham looked like. He looked so disgusted with the fact that the third base coach sent him. And then he made it a point after the game, too, just pointing out that he's like, yeah, what third base coach would send a runner on that throw from left field, because the runner's always out.
By the way, your White Sox update, second pitch of the game, Jarren Duran hit a bomb. So they are already losing to the Boston Red Sox.
670 to score. Listener, definitely keep an eye on the Holmes maneuver, because
the Holmes maneuver.
It worked for me yesterday. I saw that the White Sox were up 5-1 against the Cubs. I looked at good old DraftKings. So it was Cubs money line was plus 400. I'm like, ooh, don't mind if I do.
I am responsibly retired. I have not placed a bet since I think like April 12th or April 13th was the last time I placed a bet.
Okay.
So.
Wow. So it's been over a month.
Almost 2 months now. Almost
There you
2
go.
months.
Good for
So,
you. Good. Yeah, I'm not a
Thank
betting
you.
person, but I think that bit that Lawrence Holmes does is so funny because even
So,
when like
yeah.
when it's not time, he posts the gif of Mace Windu going
Yeah.
not yet.
Yeah,
It is so
it's fun.
funny.
And yeah, it actually came because of the Bulls, because the Bulls would like jump out to like
Right,
an
yeah.
early lead, and then
And
you'd be like,
then
all
and
right,
then you knew that they were gonna lose it. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, maybe that's a Chicago thing
There's
because
something
the
about fading rhyme
Blackhawks did it.
teams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
No.
so I really want to talk about the situation at third base for the Cubs. If
Yeah.
we can keep it on Cubs talk or go back
Yeah.
to Cubs talk, I should say.
Yeah.
I want to talk about third base because this is a hot button subject. It has been since spring training. The job was handed to Christopher Morel to lose. He has yet to lose it. He should have lost it by this point, in my opinion. And we are at a point where we got to figure it out. And they asked Craig Counsell about it yesterday before the game. They talked about it. I read the Athletic report. I wrote a couple blogs about it, but they have on the roster now, as we talked about earlier, David Bodie is back up. Patrick Wisdom is around and capable of playing third base, though I like him better at first. Michael Busch came up through the Dodger system as a third baseman, so he certainly knows his way around third base. And we have a young Matt Shaw, who is probably very close to getting a chance at AAA Iowa due to Nick Madrigal breaking his hand in his second at-bat back down at AAA. He broke his hand.
And Shaw's been pretty hot, so.
And Matt Shaw has been hot. He started off very not hot this year at AA, but his defense has been spectacular at third base for AA Tennessee. And he's been coming around as of late. I think like in the last 2 weeks, he's hit like 5 home runs or something like that.
Yeah, he's been in 333 with 5 home runs in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, he's a slugging machine. And I'm not saying that he would be the power hitting fix for the Cubs this year. I think that's very harsh to believe in for him to be the savior of the Cubs when he hasn't played a major league game. I think that would be irresponsible and stupid. However, his defensive capability puts him in a good spot for me to get a chance here because Christopher Morel, we saw it on Tuesday night as Christopher Morel hits a bomb, and I'm shit talking him, and he just hits a home run. So we are tied.
Oh,
now.
Look at that!
We are tied now, 3-3, 4-3. Sorry, it was a 2-runner.
It was 2-1 shot. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, open mouth, insert foot, but him hitting home runs doesn't fix him not being good at third base. So, gentlemen, how are we going to fix the third base position moving forward?
Moving forward, long term, yeah, Matt Shaw. But
yes,
I will say if Matt Shaw is like the first name you circle this season,
bad.
Jed Hoyer loves you because he wants you to think, yes, we have to wait on the prospects when a team like the Astros could potentially be selling an Alex Bregman at the deadline because he's a free agent this winter.
Okay. Did you write that blog?
Yeah, I had one coming out. One coming out.
Well, I saw one that went out from you guys. And now, I loved it because I had the same thought. Yeah. And I felt crazy for it because it was like, why would you rent Alex Bregman for this year? I'm very glad that you said it because it made me feel better about myself.
You rent Alex Bregman because you're the goddamn Chicago Cubs in the third largest market in Major League Baseball.
Go off. Kid.
This is what you do.
Yes.
I mean, if you're a team that's entering your reported contention window, you go out there, you get the best rental bat available at your biggest position of need. And third base, as you just pointed out, is a need for the Cubs. Morel can DH. Get Alex Bregman. Make him your third baseman for the final 2 months of the season.
Yeah. No, I agree because it would be awesome, first off. And what if Alex Bregman comes in and he loves Chicago and then we re-sign him out of nowhere? That would be crazy.
And that's the thing. Well, yeah.
Like,
whether it's Bregman, Pete Alonso, get them in the door.
Bregman would be such a remember when we got Nick Castellanos?
That
a Bregman move like that would have been incredible. So I would just be beside myself if we pulled that off because him at third. And here's the thing. I like if Morel's bat is heating up now, like he's hit a couple home runs in the last couple days. If his bat is heating up, then I'll shut up about it. But I love Seiya Suzuki as the designated hitter.
Same. And we saw in that mess on Saturday,
He saved
another
himself, but
he did, but another situation where Suzuki is faced with a very routine fly ball to end the inning, and it doesn't happen. Granted, he gets the benefit of the doubt for Saturday because of the monsoon that was that game. But when you give him that benefit of the doubt, you still have to mention what happened in Atlanta last year, what happened to
right.
begin the season last year. These are repeat concerns. And honestly, the biggest fix to that, whether it's Cody Bellinger playing right, whether it's Mike Tauchman playing right, the biggest fix to that is telling Pete Crow Armstrong, Pete, you've only played in a handful of games. You've already have a defensive run saved of 5. If you can get to the ball, no matter if it's left field or right field, get to it, call it, it's yours. Yeah.
It is your ball. And
Yeah.
that's the center fielder. Like if you can get to it, it is yours. He is quick as lightning. He knows what he's doing. He's had a couple of mishaps, but he's a rookie. Like
Right.
you get that benefit when you're a rookie. Seiya's been around for a while. He played a lot in Japan. He knows what he's doing.
Right.
Christopher Morel has been around a while. And granted, his third base defense has improved, but it hasn't improved enough because we're still losing games and we're still putting ourselves in a position to lose games because of the actions that are happening at third base.
Exactly.
I really, really like Patrick Wisdom at first base against left-handed pitching. I think that is an incredible move. If we can just keep really like Bellinger and Bush, like I don't know, with Bellinger playing first and Pico Armstrong playing center and everybody sworn to Christopher Morel playing third base, I don't know where Michael Bush fits in on this team anymore.
I think Bush can be so. Let's start with Patrick Wisdom, and then that will go into my Michael Bush take.
Love it. I love it.
I'm good with how Craig Counsell is using Patrick Wisdom. He's not really getting starts, but here's the thing. We saw it Tuesday's game, right? When Bush was facing a lefty. He immediately took Bush out, put Patrick Wisdom in there, 2-run home run. What we've been saying about Patrick Wisdom the past 2 years is he's a matchup-based player. He can't really start for you. He has too much power to just be destined to ride the bench for a full game. But within that game, you find the right moment. You find the right matchup. That's what Craig Counsell has been doing, and it's been paying off with Wisdom.
Yeah.
So circling back to Michael Bush, I think that's kind of the point where we're reaching until he makes the adjustment back. Is Michael Bush has to be a matchup-based player. Put him in your rotation of players that you rotate at the DH spot. He might not start for you at first base. He might not start for you at DH. But if there's a moment in the game where there's a righty where he has a good profile against, you put him in there. You take, whether it's Wisdom, you take him out, whether it's Bellinger. Unfortunately, Bellinger, his swing looks lost the past week. He's had some awful swings.
He was hot there for a couple weeks.
He was
batting over 300, but I noticed it on Tuesday when I was at the game on Tuesday. He was so far ahead of these.
He's
wailing.
Balls. Yeah,
like he's just he's wailing. So I agree with you.
Yeah,
Alex, we're talking about Michael Bush's spot on this team.
Yeah,
how he fits in still.
And I was just saying right now he's probably in that rotation of DH guys. You just find the matchup. You either play him at DH for that matchup, or like you're doing Patrick Wisdom. Within that game, you find the right pitching matchup. You pinch hit for him, and then you let him go through, try and make the adjustment back while getting advantageous matchups.
Yeah. I would like to see him get a shot at third base. If we're in the discussion of keeping Seiya Suzuki in right field and moving Cody Bellinger to first base, Michael Bush maybe gets a couple starts against right-handed pitching at third base just to see what he's got going on. And
Oh, yeah.
what if his defense is incredible and we can have Christopher Morel as a DH? Because maybe some of the reason why he's struggling at the plate and being quote unquote unlucky at the plate is that he is focusing on his defense a lot. And if he could just focus on his hitting, maybe we see some numbers go up. I don't know. You could say the same about Seiya Suzuki. I don't know. But Alex, where do you stand on things and stuff? Oh no.
Well, first of all, sorry for constantly going in and out here. I don't know what the hell is going on with my Wi-Fi.
Okay.
But anyway, if you guys can hear me, can you hear me?
We can hear you, but I think you're significantly delayed from us.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a delay.
There's a situation going on with Alex. I'm gonna kick Alex out again, and then we're gonna figure it out.
But yeah, and here's the thing: if Michael Busch had already made the adjustment back, then I do think you would see more of a willingness of the Cubs end to put him at third base, put Morel at DH, put Seiya back and right, and put Cody at first. But unfortunately, you're dealing with Busch trying to make the adjustment back after pitchers have adjusted to him.
Yeah.
And so you can't really be like, all right, well, now we're going to give you an extended runway at third base.
Yeah.
All while you're trying to make the adjustment back offensively.
Yeah. And I'll give credit, shout out K-Fids at Sports Mockery, the Pinwheels and Ivy podcast. He was very adamant that when Michael Busch was going on his tear of 6 home runs in 6 days, he was like, just wait for the bounce back because he's going to have to figure it out. And he was absolutely dead on about it because here we are trying to figure it out. And it's been a while. He's had a lot of time to figure it out. And he's still not figuring it out. So, look, I would love to see Matt Shaw on this team. I think that he could contribute in a big way. I think he could come up and be one of those guys that nobody saw coming, although I saw him coming. And it would just be cool to like see the spark that he might be able to provide. But by no means should he be the savior of this team. The savior of this team is not on the Chicago Cubs right now. It is in the form of Elias Diaz. It is in the form of Alex Bregman. It is in the form of Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Like there are big options, and the Cubs have plenty of capital to make something big happen to put themselves back in the meat of this race instead of being this mediocre team. I think that's the most frustrating part of all of this is the Cubs don't have to be mediocre. They don't have to be here, and they are, and it's frustrating. Like they were sworn that this was going to be the team that Miguel Amaya was going to work out, that Christopher Morel was going to work out, and that's why they didn't go after power bats in the offseason. And here we are waiting for Christopher Morel to heat up, knowing Miguel Amaya is never going to heat up, and we're just stuck in no man's land. So it's just super frustrating. This is a frustrating team again this year.
Yeah.
And it's I think the part that makes me most upset is that last year, 0 expectations for the team. And they came 1 game away from making the playoffs. So you go into the offseason thinking, okay, we're right on the cusp. And then you go hire Craig Counsell as your manager, the best manager in baseball. And you're like, oh my God, here we go. It's happening. We're about to do something crazy and stupid and get in this thing.
Flat.
And then they quote unquote miss out on Shohei. And then they miss out on Yamamoto, but they get Shota. And we're like, okay, that's something. And then they trade for Michael Busch, and it's like, okay, didn't see that coming. And then Cody Bellinger comes back, so we're like, all right, why not? And then the hot start in April, everybody's getting geared up. Like, this division is ours, like it should be. And then it's this, and it's nothing. And we missed another opportunity. It feels like another wasted year, but we're only in June, and we're 500, and we're in this thing, and now it's a tie ball game.
Yeah, and here's the problem. The Cubs put themselves in a position where they're depending on their prospects to come up and play good right away. Let's look at what they did in 2016 with the catching position. You had Miguel Montero, you had David Ross, and then in the second half, you brought up Wilson Contreras. But here's the thing. Wilson Contreras was not a counted on member of that team. He was allowed to come up, develop behind Montero, develop behind Ross. That's ideally the spot you want to put your prospects in. So if you're Jed and you're plotting your moves at the deadline, a prospect shouldn't be the reason why Alex Bregman is not a Chicago Cub by July 31st. You bring him in September, you call up Matt Shaw. The reason you do that is because with Bregman here, there's less pressure on Shaw. Shaw can just come up, embrace being a major leaguer, learn how to be a major leaguer, all while getting advantageous matchups that Council will put him in.
What you just said, like, is incredible thinking by you, because
Yeah.
you're absolutely right about Wilson Contreras. He didn't have any pressure to be the guy. The pressure came in 2017, and you know what?
Right.
He really stepped up to it
Yeah.
because he knew what he was doing, and he already built relationship with some of the guys, and he had big shoes to fill. Like, David
Yeah.
Ross was the only catcher John Lester wanted to work with. And
Yeah.
then John Lester was like, I'll take Wilson. So
Mhm.
that's huge.
Yeah.
Alex, welcome back, brother.
I'm so sorry. My Wi-Fi
You're
just
good.
crapped out, stopped working, so I had to hardwire it, and
Oh, man.
just in time to see that we blew the lead yet again.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I can't take this anymore.
Yes.
This is
Yeah.
so obnoxious.
Yes. For those of you listening to the podcast the next day, thank you for doing so. We are in the top of this or the bottom of the sixth inning where it is 4-4. And
Yes.
the second place Chicago Cubs are they really should be losing to the last place Cincinnati Reds. So
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I know I missed a lot here, and the lighting in this spot is not the greatest, so I apologize for people
look
watching on
just-
video.
You look fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you, but it's maybe next time I'll just try hardwiring from the beginning. I don't know. I'm sick of technology. I'm sick of Wi-Fi. I'm sick of not being able to hold leads for more than an inning or a few batters. It's incredibly obnoxious, but obviously I know you guys have been talking a lot, Morel's defense and just kind of the roster construction as a whole. This is what I said last week, and I'm going to say it again. Look at the Padres. I know the Padres are kind of where the Cubs are right now, record-wise, but they weren't afraid to go out and get the best hitter in baseball in Luis Ariz. They weren't afraid to go out and get a Cy Young caliber pitcher in Dylan Cease. They trade away prospects they've probably already forgotten about. And I feel like we're so hesitant to do that. And then I get it. There's risks with every move, but imagine if Luis Ariz was setting the table at the top of your lineup, or you had Dylan Cease along with Shota Imanaga or Justin Steele. I know that trading for Dylan Cease was kind of never really in the cards, but I mean, sometimes you have to be aggressive like that. And I'm just worried that this team is never going to do that. Yes, you were aggressive with hiring Craig Counsell. That's great. But in terms of actual personnel, like, how long are you going to sit and wait for things to just happen and go right? How long are you going to sit and wait for this farm system to just magically solve all your problems? I mean, you're just... you got to do something bold like that. And I don't know yet if this front office is capable of doing it, because you can't tell me that it's bold to re-sign Drew Smiley or Kyle Hendricks, or that trading for Michael Busch it could end up being a solid move. I like Michael Busch, and so far, outside a few hiccups, I like what I see with the bat, but that's like that's like a sneaky good move. But to get a bold move for a top tier caliber player, that's what I want to see. Truly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Spot
Yeah.
on.
We're on the Alex Bregman train. How do you feel about that?
Hey, that'd be cool. I don't see it happening, but that'd be
No.
cool.
Well, yeah. No, but that's the type of move that will. And you know what I hate? A lot of people point to the Padres and they're like, see, this is why you don't spend money. Well, here's the thing. I have more confidence in Manny Machado turning his season around than any player in the Cubs starting lineup. And so if I'm talked about like, all right, we have a lineup with Manny Machado, Luis Ariz, rotation of Yu Darvish, Dylan Cease. My money is still on that team, because for as much as Jed wants to talk about the back of the Cubs players' baseball cards, guess what? Their back of the baseball cards actually prove that they can turn it around.
Correct.
The Cubs players don't.
And also, when they went and got Machado and Yu Darvish and all these things, like, that team that they came on, which made the expectations playoffs. This
Yeah.
team already has playoff expectations. So you're
Yeah.
adding them to a team that's already supposed to be good.
Yeah.
So it is a little different that there should be high expectations. And this is what winning teams do. They say, oh, we're weak at catcher. Let's go get the best catcher on the market right quick. That's
And
what
we're
good teams
losing.
do. Yeah, I saw
Yeah, I just want the Cubs to act in the same nature that they act when they hired Council.
Yes.
They said, screw
Yes.
it, we're the Cubs. We're going to take the best manager available and we're going to pay him. But here's the issue to Alex's point. Jed Hoyer has never done that since taking over from Theo. Theo, for his flaws, as we said last week, he was not afraid of making that big move. For better or worse, he was not afraid of doing it. And Jed, you're going to have to make the big move. Guess what? You might miss, but I'd rather you miss because an Alex Bregman struggled during the final 2 months than a Michael
Yeah,
Bush never turned the
the-
corner.
If they go and get a Bregman and then Bregman struggles, that's on Bregman. That's
Yeah.
not on Jed Hoyer because he
Right.
did what he was supposed to do and going to get the guy
I can accept big moves if they don't work, but at least you're
Yes.
Yeah.
trying.
Hayward.
Exactly.
Hayward. That
Yeah.
off season. Like we can hate on that contract all we want, but that was Theo saying, "Hey, we're going to be the best team
We're
in
ready.
baseball."
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then going to get Chapman at the deadline. We're the best team
Yeah.
in baseball and we want to stay that way. Like
Yeah.
that's what good teams do. And it's just these off seasons, like we lost Bryce Harper. Do you like Jordan, I know you hinted at maybe having more information than me on the Bryce Harper thing. How close were the Cubs to getting Harper?
So
How-
when Harper was a free agent, the Cubs weren't close. But the reason they weren't close is because of a shift that happened in May of the preceding season when Ricketts essentially closed the door on spending. Essentially what the plan was, Theo realized that the 2016 core needed a shakeup. Wasn't sure if that was going to be a trade, but he kind of circled Bryce Harper's name at the end of 2017, entering his walk year with Washington as the player that he was going to sign, usher in the new contention window.
Sure.
That was the plan. A lot of the moves that the Cubs made were kind of getting ready for that. You saw them trade Eloy Jimenez the deadline before to the Sox for Jose Quintana. Separately, yeah, we know that trade didn't work out. One of the reasons Theo was comfortable with trading Eloy was because the plan was to sign Harper. The issue came in May when Ricketts went to Theo and was like, look, we're kind of going to have to plug the spending for a little bit. And that then in the offseason, when you had Harper out there, when you had Machado out there, the Cubs just couldn't enter the market because there was a mandate from ownership.
Okay. That's what I thought was the situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just imagine a world. You get
Yeah,
Harper,
and
like,
again, we saw that too. We saw the impact Harper has with Philly. Sure,
that
the-
town loves him.
That's a
That
team you
town
want to
loves
be.
him.
A
Right.
fun, exciting team. A team
Right.
that's not afraid to go out the big move.
And
Yeah.
look at these moves that they made. Like they spent a bajillion on Harper, right? They got Harper.
Yes.
Then they don't spend a bajillion to get Schwarber. They don't spend a bajillion to get Nick Castellanos. They do spend a bajillion to get Trey Turner.
yeah,
They spent a bajillion, not even as much as they should have had to keep both Wheeler and Nola together. Here they are, a very
Look
significant.
how
They are
good that
7
team
games
is.
up on the Atlanta Braves. 7 games up on the Braves. And yes,
Yeah,
you
I
can
think-
say that, oh, well, their schedule was super easy. Okay, they're beating the teams that they're supposed to by a bajillion, and then they're beating the good teams. They just swept the Brewers.
Yeah, they just
Yeah.
swept the Brewers. Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a good baseball team.
They were in the NLCS last year. They won the pennant the year before.
They were
Yeah.
they have been my pick since February to win the World Series. I picked them to win the division. I picked them to win the World Series, and I picked Harper as the MVP. And
I mean, they're
Yeah.
looking mighty good right now.
2 of those 3s look good. Harper's got to get going, but 2 of the 3 look really good.
yeah.
Man.
And that's why it's just so frustrating. Because I think we've seen enough action and enough words from Jed to truly say almost for certain that the Cubs will never be big ticket shopping under his regime.
Yeah, that's crazy. All right, well
You're drawing a line in the sand.
We've spent 50 minutes on the Chicago Cubs.
I'm just get angrier and angrier.
We honestly, the venting felt good. I felt
I needed this. I truly needed this.
Let's shake it up for a little bit, and then maybe we'll revisit the Cubs here in a little bit, okay? But let's shake it up for a minute. So let's talk some happy things. Let's talk Bears. That's 2 weeks in a row.
Oh, I know. How about
a record?
I put OTAs in the. I don't know. Maybe I was drunk at 12:30 this afternoon when I made this, but I put OTAs in the title. It was definitely mandatory minicamp.
It was, yeah.
But there's really nothing super big to talk about. It's like Caleb struggled, and then he figured it out, and like there's nothing really. There's no super big headlines. We're gonna be on Hard Knocks. It's gonna be cool. Caleb said that he's working on his cadence because it was all like silent and like he didn't have to call anything when he was in college. It was all in the clap.
Yeah.
It's a little different in the pros. He's learning it. He's going to figure it out. He's got all summer to work on it. He's going to come back to training camp. He's going to be fine. There's not a whole lot to talk about.
Yeah. I think we did get probably clarity on a couple of contract statuses. Justin Jefferson's extension with the Vikings probably means that Keenan Allen is only here for 1 year.
That's fine.
Here's the thing. That's fine. Going back to the Wilson Contreras example, you have Roma Dunze on a rookie contract. You have Roma Dunze behind DJ Moore and Keenan Allen. Guess what? He could spend this season behind DJ Moore and Keenan Allen, learn the ropes, become a legitimate wide receiver at the NFL level. Then at the end of the season, bye Keenan. Thank you for hopefully a full year.
Thank you for your service.
Rome, step up.
And here's the thing too. Like, who's to say that if the Bears aren't super good this year, Keenan Allen's like,
well, that's also, and that's a caveat.
He's at the point of his career where it's like he's made his money. Maybe it's time to go win a ring. And this is a very good football team.
And he's in his 30s too. It's not like he's in his prime looking for a long-term extension here. You know.
Yeah, and that's the thing, and that so goes back to the Caleb Williams point. If Caleb Williams is that dude, we're going to see what happens in Kansas City. Wide receivers take discounts to play with Patrick Mahomes and a chance to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, exactly. So who's to say? You know. So don't worry about Keenan Allen. Don't worry. And if they do really good, maybe 2 or 3 years, we're talking about Caleb Williams and Roma Dunze, like they're taking their huge deals to stay together and be Bears for forever.
Yeah.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves, but
the other contract status was Tevin Jenkins. It does sound like he's probably going to test free agency.
Yeah, that's just an awkward situation. He was like, "Yeah, I reached out wanting an extension," and the Bears were like, "Okay,
like,
cool,
new number. Who this?"
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I love Tevin Jenkins, but he's got to stay healthy. When he does play, he's great, but he's not always on the field.
He's got to prove that he can give us 17 games. Like, I'll take 16.
And that's the thing.
14.
You got to prove that you're going to be around.
And that's the thing. His representation is probably looking for him to get paid as a starting right guard. The Bears are like, buddy, you've only played 30 games total your first 2 years. You have
this
to
is a
healthy.
Wendy's.
Right.
Yeah. So, so a couple of contract things, but just calm down. Calm down.
I'll tell you what, though.
Okay.
I'm always a fan of Hard Knocks.
Yeah.
I'm ready for the Bears to be on Hard Knocks. That's going to be fun.
Yeah. So I think this summer I might go back and watch a couple of the older Hard Knocks because I've never seen Hard Knocks. So I want to watch a couple of the seasons and see what it's about, see what I can expect, you know?
I would say definitely watch the first 3 or 4 seasons. Those were real good.
Yeah.
You can skip the recent ones, but I will say if you do want to watch a recent one, watch the in-season Miami Dolphins one from last year.
Oh yeah, I heard
that
that's
one
incredible.
That one was excellent.
Mike
McDaniel,
so,
he is. Yeah, I love him.
He is the best, man.
Yeah.
It makes me sad. that
It does make me sad because, a former me would have been like,
that would have been
Bears never had a conversation with the man.
so cool.
But
Like he's such a cool
Yeah.
guy. He's chill. Like
No,
he's
like
like,
I said-
I don't care about you guys. Like I'm just here to coach a football game and
That's-
hit my vape every now and then on the sideline.
the old me would be sad because it would be another case
That's
where
right.
the Bears
That's right.
did not talk to an
uh-huh.
offensive coordinator, but
Yeah.
that's the old me.
That's right.
We have
were
Caleb Williams here.
We were stupid before. We are no longer
Right.
stupid.
Right.
Claws
Right.
up, baby.
That's at least what we want to tell ourselves.
That's what we have to tell ourselves, especially with the Cubs being bad.
I'm not
Yeah.
moving on until all 3 claws are up. Thank you.
So,
Thank you.
uh,
Claws up. Somebody screenshot that. Claws up.
and I'll bring this full circle, kind of, nice
Please.
little segue.
Please.
If you're watching Scarface, because it's always on, one of my favorite scenes in that movie is when Tony is and his wife are at dinner towards the end of the movie. So if they're drunk, had a good time, and he just goes to the patrons there. He's like, "Say goodbye to the bad guy." And the reason why I love that is because you have to love a good bad guy.
Yeah.
And that is why I love Angel Reese in the Chicago Sky.
Oh, let's go. Yes. I was going to say, like, is Angel Reese like the bad girl of the WNBA? Because I'm here for it. I kind of want a jersey. I want an Angel Reese jersey.
The Sky are the villains of the WNBA.
They are.
Right now.
Yeah.
Right now,
Well,
they absolutely are.
Look, I have nothing against Caitlin Clark. Like she's done, like what she did when she was at Iowa was incredible. She got eyes on like women's basketball in college.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very cool. Like she comes to the NBA, she's getting eyes on. Like I wasn't watching Sky games. Like even when we got the very tall blonde girl, Della Vendova.
Oh, Elena
Deladon.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. When we got her, I was like, oh, sweet, Sky. And then I never watched the game because I recognized her name. And then when we got Candace Parker, I was like, oh, sweet, Sky. And then I never watched the game.
And they won a championship, too.
We won a championship. I didn't even know. But now, like Caitlin Clark, and I knew about Angel Reese, like when she was at LSU, it was before last season. Like when she was kind of a bad girl at LSU too. And with their coach down there. And now she's on the Sky, and I'm like, is Angel Reese my girl? Like, I think I want a jersey. I want a jersey. My office also right next to Wintrust Arena, and I think I still have a parking pass. So,
you gotta go.
I kind of want to go to some
You should
Sky
go.
games. Yeah,
You should go.
yeah, but yeah, Angel Reese, bad girl of the WNBA. I'm here for it, and I don't hate Caitlin Clark, but I love that there's a budding rivalry right now between Chicago and Indiana. I'm in on the rivalry.
do I.
Give me something to fight for.
Here's the thing: whatever superhero movie you look at, you need a good villain. The reason why The Dark Knight was so good was because Heath
Joker.
Ledger played a phenomenal Joker.
You're right.
So
That's the biggest part of the movie.
Yeah, you have to have a good villain. So Angel Reese, to your point, Tommy, not last year at LSU, the year before that, she was comfortable being the villain to Caitlin Clark's rise. When LSU won the championship, and she's up there in Caitlin Clark's face, pointing to her finger as if to say, "Oh, you're not getting this ring." You love to see it. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's all over the national news. It's all over. I mean, that Monday after that first Fever Sky game, they were talking about it on all the local radio stations. They were talking about it on ESPN. Pat McAfee was talking about it. Granted, a little controversial the way he addressed it, but still, he was talking about it. I mean, the biggest platforms were all talking about it.
That's a wild boy.
All right, Pat. All right. So ever since Aaron Rodgers has not been on the Pat McAfee show, I've been watching a lot of Pat McAfee show.
It's fun. It is fun.
Yeah, he is like, I mean, he's the man. What can you say? He's the man. And when I was watching when he said that, I was like, okay, he's right, but he's about to get got.
He's about
sure
to get.
Enough, within an hour, he was getting dragged on the internet for people just cutting that part, not showing the 20 minutes before that. And I hated that segment because it was like, oh, Chicago sucks. But watching Pat go on a rant is.
But what's so awesome is
Pat
did the show. He saw the backlash. He then goes to Monday Night Raw uses the same terminology to describe a wrestler there. And that's just what makes Pat awesome because he just doesn't care. He's going to say what he wants. And credit to whoever at ESPN decided to bring Pat McAfee on. I'm sure it's giving the lawyers headaches because of the controversy that show has been involved with. But that's what ESPN needed because their programming was getting so formulaic, and it's nice to see a breath of fresh air. Even if it does come with controversy from time to time.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's appointment viewing when the show is on.
Right. Yeah. It's I have been watching it every day, and I'm a Barstool guy, and so I watch the Yak every day at noon, and that's just a show about nothing. It's very fun. Those are fun guys. But now my routine is to watch the Pat McAfee show live and then take an hour and then go right into Parkins and Spiegel.
There you go.
And then in the mornings, I catch up on the previous day's Yak. So that's my new schedule because I'm addicted to Pat McAfee. And today, like he was doing his soccer tournament thing. He's just so funny. He's just I'm lucky to be able to like have these things on one screen when I'm working. Yeah. But yeah, it's nice. Yeah. Skies are the bad girls, and I'm here for it. I'm here for it. Yeah. All right. So that was the Sky. Oh, Alex, Blackhawks.
Yes.
Big change.
Big change. Huge. A change we did not expect. I certainly didn't. I don't think anybody else did, but they made a change at the TV play-by-play man. Obviously, over the past few years, we had Chris Vosters doing it. He was the one that replaced Pat Foley, which for anybody, no matter who it was you hired, was massive shoes to fill. And there was never going to be another Pat Foley. But the Blackhawks decided to bring in Rick Ball from the Calgary Flames, 10-year veteran of the Flames. So he's broadcast for that team for a full decade, is very, very well liked in Calgary. I saw so many Flames fans really sad, really upset that he left.
I watched a compilation of some of his calls, and he's
good.
Fun. He's fun, and he's got a good, thick Canadian, like exactly what you want to hear out of a hockey announcer.
Him and Darren Pang, that is a great duo right there. Are we ever going to have Pat and Eddie again? No, but Rick Ball and Panger, that's a pretty good duo right there. And I mean, truly, you need to have that kind of announcer in a big market original 6-team franchise. I mean, it's just, all the best to Chris Vosters. He seems like a great dude. I think he's got a bright future in front of him.
Yeah,
he just wasn't ready.
That wasn't fair too, because like he has a baseball background, and like I know hockey. I think I read somewhere like hockey is definitely what he wants to do, but
it's hard.
It's hard. Yeah. First off, very hard, but also like getting your first gig as an original 6, like die-hard fan base who just lost their guy that they've had basically everybody's entire life that watches now.
Yep.
That's tough shoes to fill. That's a tough place to be. So it's nothing against him, and he's gonna get another job somewhere else doing something.
Absolutely.
But I think like a veteran guy, like a legendary voice, like we're getting. I think that's exactly what a Chicago Blackhawks team goes and does.
Absolutely, because you got to remember that with Connor Bedard, regardless of how good or bad you are, you're trying to go on the upswing. People are watching you because of Connor Bedard.
Yes.
And the fact that is just a major factor going forward, look how many times they were on the national stage even last year when they were still really, really bad because of Connor Bedard. And you expect to be a little better next year, you're going to get more national attention and you'll probably get more national games. But, if Connor Bedard is scoring, your highlights are going to be all over the national hockey stage. So having an experienced veteran announcer like him, that's a big deal. And I just think that the fans have stuck around, especially when Connor Bedard came, they've stuck around. They're ready to see this through. But hey, you now have an added bonus of having an announcer of this caliber working for you. It's pretty great.
Yeah, no, and so the big news in Chicago too this week was the announcement of the Chicago Sports Network. NBC Chicago is going to be no more. So it's going to be the Hawks, the Bulls, and the Sox all on this thing with with programming for like the Bears programming and stuff happening on the channel as well. Obviously, Bears games are like under the NFL. You don't have any local broadcasts. So there's going to be new jobs coming up. There's going to be new people coming in. I think going back to an earlier conversation that we were having, like this is the easiest way out of John Striffen for the Chicago White Sox. Like they're being
to be.
They are being gifted a way out. So
I wonder if he is one and done. I truly do.
Yeah,
he has to be. I mean, look, when the guy was first hired, he did the radio tour. He stopped by 670. He stopped by ESPN 1000.
Yeah.
Started getting criticism right away. I'm like, all right, we have to hear the guy at least call a game first.
And then we did.
So at first, I think it's kind of like what we were saying with the Blackhawks. He's replacing Benetti. He's replacing one of the best. So
that's tough.
That's tough. But now the criticisms that we have go far beyond announcing. I mean, that call on Sunday was an embarrassment.
Sorry, I pressed the button. I don't know why I automatically. Why can't we take turns?
Probably because you're the host.
Probably the host.
That's different.
Whoa!
You like that?
Whoa! That's a close
sorry.
up.
There we go. I pressed some buttons. I'm done pressing buttons.
I know. So that's be fun to listen to on the podcast.
By the way, thank you for those that are listening to the podcast. We hope that you'll join us on YouTube sometime. But do whatever.
But I mean, calling out the radio host, calling out the haters, his Go Cubs Go weirdness. It's just all these things that when you're
now, if like Benetti had said that, it was like, oh, we got to hear Go Cubs Go again. Like, not only is he warranted for that, like he would eat it up if Joe if Joe at Obvious Shirts made a shirt about it, and he would eat it up. He would love it. He would love it.
One of the favorite cause of Benetti's, because I hate it so much because of how good it was.
Thanks, Cubs.
Is the Thanks Cubs. Yeah.
Yep.
I hate it, but I hate it because of how good it was.
Yes.
Put a pin in that because I want to get back to that call for a second. But before I do that, let's stay on the Striffen thing. Did you hear what happened this week on 670 The Score? So on Tuesday,
I did.
Parkins and Spiegel, the afternoon show on 670 The Score here in Chicago, they broadcasted from Wrigley Field. They were supposed to be on the field, but with the weird weather, they weren't able to be on the field, so they had to do it from the press box. And they've been after John Striffen for a while, and they made fun of him. Like all of us have, they made fun of him. And when Striffen said his radio loser thing, it was directly at them. And so they were right on him. And so they've been asking him to come on the radio station. He's obviously declined every time. But then they were at Wrigley Field when Striffen had to be at Wrigley Field. They were 2 press boxes away from him. And Spiegel said, you know what? I've been the one that's most critical of him. I'm going to go up. I'm going to introduce myself, and I'm going to ask him if he'd like to come on the show, and he's going to say no. So during a commercial break, he went to Striffen, and Striffen was sitting down. Like you know how the Wrigley press boxes are, where like steep stairs. Striffen was all the way at the bottom. Spiegel goes down and says, John Striffen, hello, I'm Matt Spiegel from 670 The Score. And he puts his hand out to shake his hand. And Striffen stands up and he taps him on the shoulder and says, how you doing, buddy? And then walks out of the room. He wasn't getting up like before Spiegs got in there. He just got up and left.
Right.
And like to not like at least shake the dude's hand and be like, you know what? I don't want to do this right here. That would have been fine. But to just like, what's up, buddy? And then walk out like that.
Make
is
a
just
show of it. Yeah.
Wild move. As if Spiegs isn't going to come back and they're going to talk about it on the radio. Like you're an idiot if you think that, you know?
And that's
I didn't even know that. I didn't hear that part.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
And that's the thing. I mean, this thing just speaks, recall that story. Outside of trying to get John to come on the show, the biggest reason he was doing it was just to extend an olive branch. Like, hey,
right. Come explain yourself.
We're both here. Let's reset. Let's move forward.
Because
And
I
he just-
guarantee you, if he goes on the show and he says, yeah, my calls are kind of over the top, but I just love being a baseball broadcaster and I love the Chicago White
Yeah.
Sox. If you say that, it's over. It's
Right.
done. And then people probably start to be on your side.
Mhm.
Right.
But he, like, I don't know. I guess
No,
maybe he likes the drama. I don't know.
No, I mean, like you said, I think the switch to Chicago Sports Network is giving the White Sox a prime opportunity to make a change, and they need to.
Yeah. Oh my God, do they need to? Speaking of change, it is 5-4 Cincinnati Reds over the Chicago Cubs in the bottom of the 7th. There are 2 outs and the bases are loaded, and Porter Hodge is on the mound.
So
I
that's
heard
fun.
there was a really bad call.
But don't worry,
missed strike
Kyle
3
Hendricks
call.
is warming up in the bullpen, so
Oh,
everything's gonna be
Oh,
fine.
that's gonna be really good.
Oh,
Really good.
especially in Cincinnati, where he
Yeah.
historically struggled.
Correct. The good news is that the nobody Colorado Rockies are defeating the Cardinals 3-0 right now. They are in the top.
Oh,
of the 5th.
that's nothing. That's nothing.
Yeah, that's,
But also, we have not discussed this yet tonight, so we should talk about it really quick, and then maybe we get to some more Cubs. I don't know. We'll see where the night takes us. The NBA Finals are happening right now, and the Celtics are almost doubling up.
Yeah,
the Dallas Mavericks. If Boston doesn't get this done, like in this series, and if it's not in like 5 games, then, buddy.
honestly, the biggest storyline in the NBA isn't the finals. It's
No,
what's
it's-
going on with the
right.
Lakers
Yeah.
head coach.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah, how wild of a day has it been for that? I didn't watch any of the pregame stuff, but the speculation was like
Dude,
they're going to be talking about that more than they're going to be talking about the game because the Celtics were 6.5-point favorites in Game 1 of the Finals. Like that's insane.
well, once again, Shams kind of finds himself in the middle of a somewhat betting controversy when Shams comes out and says, yeah, it's looking like JJ Redick is going to be the next head coach of the Lakers. So I'm sure you have people run the FanDuel, make that bet, and now all of a sudden, no, it's gonna be Dan Hurley. But whether it's JJ, whether it's Dan Hurley, it's all tied to what does LeBron want to do? That's why the JJ stuff was so fascinating because
Yeah.
for all the hate LeBron gets, the podcast that him and JJ had was actually pretty good.
You're not gonna catch me listening because
No, I get it, but like true basketball, it's not even LeBron focus. It's just true basketball nerds just nerding out about basketball. And JJ
right.
is low key kind of the coolest dude in the loop. I hated him at Duke.
I love how
But-
honest he is. Like when he first went on ESPN and he was giving it right back to Stephen A.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, hell yeah,
Yeah.
brother.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Once he became an analyst, I'm like, oh, JJ's kind of fly. I could get down with JJ.
Breaking news, by the way.
Oh,
Our Chicago Sky have defeated the Washington Mystics 79-71.
bad guys up. Well, bad
Bad
girls
guys.
up in this case.
Oh, bad girls up. Can that be the hashtag? Bad girls up.
Yeah, that's the title of the show.
Hashtag
All
Bad
right.
Girls
All
Up.
right. Yep. I will not.
Bad
I
girls
will-
up. It has
I
to be
will
the
not
title of the
fight
show.
that.
1,000%. Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. We're still in the podcast. It is 6-4 now. I think Hodge just walked somebody in. So
Yes, he
he's-
did.
He is
Yes, he
getting the
did.
ball taken away from him.
This
don't
game's
worry.
probably over.
Don't worry. Kyle Hendricks is going to come in and save the day. But I'm game to
Hey,
I'm game to keep shooting things around with you guys. If you guys are, if we need to call it, we need to call it. But
about like 15 minutes.
yeah, let's go. Let's
I will
just
say
follow it
this,
for
you
15
know,
more minutes.
We're not gonna intentionally say betting advice, but if you wanted to maybe see what a Will Benson home run prop is, live home run prop is, might want to hit it real
I'm
quick.
responsibly retired.
I know.
Strike out or hit a home run. One of the two.
Yeah. Well, we're about to experience Kyle Hendricks on the mound with the bases loaded together as a podcast. So I'm going to shoot the link out one more time because this is going to be fun. Kyle Hendricks,
has me
bases
wait.
loaded.
Let me ask you this. One of the big questions from Bears minicamp is Nate Davis. Are you guys concerned?
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I did.
Are you guys concerned? Not concerned? What are we looking at?
No, I kind of like where Flus stands on it. Because he's basically saying like, dude, come be a part of this team. You know?
Yeah.
But that was
Yeah.
me.
And I get it. I mean, I get last year, right? And the Bears didn't do Nate Davis any favors last year when he's missing practices, when he's missing time, while his mom is sick. And unfortunately, she did pass away.
Yeah.
But we didn't even know about the whole ordeal until 2 weeks after the fact. And it's like, look, you don't, obviously, if you're the Bears, you don't have to come out and say specifically what he's going through. You can just say, hey, Nate's got an excused absence, dealing with personal reasons. Boom. That would have been settled. But they didn't even do that.
Yeah, it's bad. I don't know.
It's like, unfortunately, I really just can't count on it, at this point. It's hard to. And I get it. When there's personal stuff going on, that takes precedent. But, I just don't really count much on, getting much value there, which is too bad. But you're going to have to make other options work if that is the case. I mean, it's.
I think so.
I've said before that the trenches are my biggest concerns of the actual on-field team. And, there's always going to be figuring out to do because you're going to have injuries and situations come up where you can't really afford much to happen. And when it does happen, it makes it even harder,
One pitch.
So
it took one pitch, boys, and 2 runs are in.
Yep. That sounds about right. Yep.
How are we going to fix the Chicago Cubs?
I
think it's time to. I think it's time to get mad again. Let's get mad again. Let's go full circle.
Yeah, let's bring it full circle. No, I mean it's just it's what we said, right? They took an unserious approach about building this roster. Unserious in the sense that they wanted us to believe what they said, that you can't depend on unproven commodities, whether it's Michael Bush, whether it's Christopher Morel at third base. And that's just a loser mindset to have when you're the 3rd largest market in Chicago.
Yeah.
Or in MLB.
I mean, this game is probably over. It's it's tough. It's tough.
It feels like they'll be lucky to win one game in Cincinnati, and I hope I'm wrong, but the NL Central owns you. They own you.
Yeah.
They're embarrassing you.
Yeah. Go off. You're
going to expect to win a division when they own you like that?
Yeah.
Every rival owns us. The Packers own us.
Oh,
the
no.
Brewers own us.
We're spiraling.
I know.
The Blues own us.
I know. We
the
lost.
Bucks own us.
Oh, no. Here we
the
go.
The Red Wings. We stood and cheered when we lost to them.
Oh no!
Hey.
He brought the Red Wings back.
Oh no! Oh no! Hey, not the Fever. The Fever don't own us yet.
They've beaten us.
They beat us, but they don't
by
own
one,
us.
By one.
Yeah, one game by one. Stop
by one.
it. Angel Reese runs this city. She runs
the
WNBA.
Pirates own us. The Cardinals are 2-0 against us.
Oh, here's a good point. Not the Sox.
That's true.
I don't consider them a rival.
Honest to God, yeah. Like, I think Sox fans care way more than Cubs fans do.
They're not in our division. They're not in our league. We play them 4 times a year.
Yeah,
I mean,
yes,
you play in the same city, but
yeah, I would love for there to be blood, bad blood. It would be awesome, but there's not.
Fun, for sure.
Like, just don't care. And we talked about it earlier in the show, which, by the way, we just had a spike of a bunch of people watching. So thank you for all.
Thank you for tuning in.
Thank you for everybody for tuning in. At the beginning of the show, we did talk about the Crosstown Cup, and I talked about my experience at the Crosstown Cup. So rewind and listen to that. But
there we go.
But yeah, I don't super consider the White Sox like anything more than like a. It's like a rivalry you're supposed to have as more
they're
so
a geographical
that,
rival, but it's not an actual rival.
The Crosstown rivals in another circle. I mean, it's. Like I said, you play them 4 times a year. They're not in your division. They're not in your league.
Yeah.
All the other Chicago sports rivals fucking own us.
Right.
All of them.
It would be like saying the Indianapolis Colts are our rivals.
Right.
In football.
Right.
Like,
Right.
they're not. Who cares?
Seriously, when was the last time Chicago won a big game against a rival? When was the last time?
Okay,
There was
no, this
one
is a good
stretch.
exercise.
There was one stretch where we actually beat our rivals in big games. 2013 through 2015.
The last time I felt like I just beat a rival, like I don't even consider baseball regular season rivalry games like that.
No.
But the last time I was like, we just beat a rival, it was 2018 against the Green Bay Packers.
Yes,
to win the
I
division.
agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
I was there, and it was electric, and it was awesome, and it was like, it was supposed to be the turning point. It was supposed to be like, this is it. We got a team, and then
we haven't beaten them since.
We haven't beaten them
since.
We have
not beaten them since.
But if I may, that's when we were stupid, and we are no longer stupid.
We moved in.
We are here. We are not stupid. The beginning of the Chicago Bears franchise happened the day Caleb Williams and Rome Odunze were drafted. That was the beginning of the Chicago Bears franchise. Claws up. Alex? Yes. Look a little happy, would you?
I mean, this was more so of a therapy session tonight, so I get it.
Yeah, I need to analyze
Honest
now.
to God, we got to do it more often because
honestly, I mean, if the Cubs keep losing, that's what most of these episodes will be until the Bears.
Yeah. So we got 2 innings to score 4 runs, which I will say lately the Cubs do like scoring runs late. So maybe this is a thing. Who knows?
Maybe.
But all right. So we're gonna. What are we naming the podcast? Bad Girls.
Bad Girls Up.
Bad Girls Up. Yes.
Yep.
Shout out. Are Chicago Sky the best team playing right now in
No.
the city?
Oh, in the city, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because okay. Yeah, I'm gonna get a range. Angel. Oh wait, one more thing we haven't talked about yet.
But wait, there's more.
The Chicago Red Stars are playing at Wrigley on Saturday.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Mallory
That's right.
Swanson.
They are.
Yeah.
They are. You'll have another Swanson playing at Wrigley Field.
Yeah, I will be there.
Probably the better one, to be honest.
I saw an aerial shot today of the field. They're kind of over. They're putting sod over the infield. I guess the field is going to go from the third baseline out to right center field.
Nice.
Probably the same as what they did with the football field.
Yeah, I would guess.
But yeah, I'll be there. I'm very excited. I think we're sitting in the bleachers, so that'll be fun.
Nice.
I always love watching a sporting event that's not supposed to take place at a certain place, but does. So
it does seem cool.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that, and just being at Wrigley's magical.
Hey, maybe a Chicago team will finally win though.
I love to hear that.
I know the Cubs
you think they'll
should
play
say,
Go Cubs Go when they win?
Only if John Schriffin's announcing the game.
Yeah.
Which I don't think he will be. So
no, I don't think he will be.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
All right, let's get the hell out of here. Thank you everybody for tuning in. The Bad Girls are up. The Bad Girls are so
Bad Girls Up. Yep.
Yeah. We're gonna do it again next week, either Wednesday or Thursday. We'll tweet out what day we'll be out. Here. Okay, so we got 4 against the Reds, and then we're off Monday, and then we play Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday against the Tampa Bay Rays. So
is that in Tampa or is that at
home?
It is
in Tampa.
It is in Tampa.
So let's say we got tonight. Let's skip tonight. Saturday, Sunday, and Tuesday and Wednesday. 4 baseball games. What is the record of the Chicago Cubs? 2 against the Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So 3 against the Reds, 2 against the Rays. What is the Chicago Cubs record in those 5 games?
2-3.
Yeah.
If it's not 4-1, we're having another venting sesh.
I highly doubt
next week.
Yeah. Highly doubt.
Guess we're venting next week.
Oh boy.
Oh, before we go, my friend Steven just tweeted out a stat.
Okay.
In today's stat of the day, NL Central 9-hole hitters are slashing 281, 333, 438 with a 137 WRC plus against the Cubs.
Is that good?
Nobody perfects giving up damage to bums in the Cubs. It's always been that way. Always.
Yep.
But Christopher Morel hit a home run tonight.
And there's that.
Sky won.
Sky won. Sky.
They did.
Bad Girls up.
Bad
they
Girls
did
up.
win. They did win. Yes.
All right, everybody.
Yes.
Thank you for listening. Make sure you follow Through the Garden on Twitter because that's where we tweet out when our shows are going to be.
We're going to start posting more from there too.
We're going to start posting more. You guys have the keys.
I know.
Yeah, just feel the vibe.
But here's the thing. I have like 5 other accounts.
I was going to
know.
say
Yeah,
you're juggling quite the number
it gets,
of.
it gets very confusing. I'm going to be honest with you because I'm in the same boat too. So,
I mean,
just,
am I tweeting a Bears article from Cubby's Crib? It's like, oh, what's going on?
you know what? Just follow us all. Cubby's Crib, Bear Goggles On, Sports Mockery, SM Cubs. Just follow them all. We're all over the place.
You'll find us.
And then you'll find us here together every Wednesday and or Thursday.
Yep.
So, all right, everybody. Thanks for listening. Peace and blessings. Whatever. Go Cubs.
All right, boys.